Hello there, everybody, and welcome to the entertainment headquarters. And it's once again time for another trailer reaction. And the one I'm about to look at is for the brand new film by Sony Pictures and Marvel. It's part of the SSU, which stands for the Sony Spider-Man universe, and it is, of course, Kraven the Hunter, starring Aaron Taylor-Johnson. And first and foremost, when it comes to the SSU, it's been for me very average to terrible. For the most part, there's only been 3 decent films for me personally in the SSU, and they are the 3 Spider-Man movies: Homecoming, Far From Home, and No Way Home. And I think why I believe that is because obviously Tom Holland is playing their version of Spider-Man, and they had this agreement with Marvel to allow Tom Holland to be their version of Spider-Man as well within the MCU. So they were both interlinked, both work well together, both knew if it worked well, they would do big business, and that's exactly what they did. Since then, any other character that they've developed into a film, I think's been kind of disappointing. Like Venom for me is right up there in popularity with, of course, Spider-Man. And we've seen the success of Deadpool and Wolverine. You know what you can do with a mixture of R-ratedness with the stereotypical Marvelness, I guess. And joining together, they can work. And they had the opportunity to do that with Venom, but then they decided to turn the character into like this buddy cop version of what Venom is. And for me, it's okay for what it is, but the films themselves have not really been that great for me. They've been very average. The first one was, the second one I hated. It was terrible in my book. I thought Woody Harrelson playing, Carnage, or Cassidy who turns into Carnage, for me was great casting, and they could have done wonders with that. But for me, the film Let Them Be Carnage was a disappointment. I could not stand the love story element with Carnage. I thought it was disappointing. They wasted an opportunity there. Morbius, I love the character Morbius because I do like vampires and vampire movies. They could have done wonders with that as well. The trailer looked quite interesting and good, but the film itself was very much average as well. And I'm not even going to get into Madam Web. Madam Web, for me, it didn't look good, the trailer. I don't think it did it any favours, and the reviews didn't do it any favours. And as we're seeing, it was one of this year's biggest box office bombs. But here-ho, let's crack on and talk about Kraven the Hunter, the next supervillain who is now being turned into some sort of anti-hero. So, Kraven the Hunter is an upcoming American superhero film featuring the Marvel Comics character of the same name, produced by Columbia Pictures in association with Marvel Entertainment, and distributed by Sony Pictures. It is intended to be the 6th film in Sony's Spider-Man universe, SSU. The film was directed by J.C. Chanda, from a screenplay from Richard Wenk. I said Wenk. And the writing team of Art Markham and Matt Holloway. It stars Aaron Taylor-Johnson in the title role alongside Ariana DeBose, Fred Henninger, Alessandro Nivola, and Christopher Abbott, and Russell Crowe. And here is the film's premise. Kraven shares a complex relationship with his ruthless father, Nikolai Kravenov. This sets him down a path of vengeance and with brutal consequences, motivating him to become not only the greatest hunter in the world, but also one of its most feared. So, with that said, let's take a look at Kraven the Hunter, and let's see if it piques my interest, and let's see if it's going to stand out for what all the average films previously have already done. So 1, 2, 3, let's go.
My son, we are hunters, the greatest the world has ever known.
Охотник — это сказки.
Каждый сказки есть правда.
Who's next?
I heard the noise of thunder.
Are you like your father? A gangster? A killer?
And I heard a voice. And behold, hell followed with him.
There's a man going round taking names,
My son,
and he decides who to free and who to blame.
there's an animal stronger than you can imagine.
The hairs on your arm will stand up.
Tell me about this hunter.
Some are born and some are died.
Once you're on his list, there's only one way off.
When the man comes around. When the man comes around. Whoever is unjust,
You think you're some kind of honor, some kind of code.
will be unjust still.
You're just another man
Whoever is righteous,
hunting for a trophy,
let him be righteous still.
just like our father.
When the man comes around. When the man comes around.
Embrace who you really are, son. And you will become a legend.
When the man comes around. When the man comes around.
Well, what do I think of that? It's a lot more grittier, a lot more violent, a lot more looking like the R-rated film that I wanted Venom to be. And maybe Sony has learned the lesson of what the real fans of these characters and properties want. And I do believe this is R-rated, so I didn't know what to expect from it. Aaron Taylor-Johnson, for me, looks fantastic in this movie. You know, I've always kind of, I haven't been a big fan of his. I would always say he's been an okay actor. He's, fine in a lot of the things he does. But I really started to take note of him when I watched Bullet Train with him and Brad Pitt, especially the fight sequences with him in. I thought he was fantastic. And I really think he's matured, and I really think he's honed his craft, and he's now developed himself to be a really great actor, and he's finally heading towards, leading actor status. I know he's been in the leads of other films, but for me, he hasn't been a leading actor that's always stood out, where now he's starting to develop himself and he's heading that way. And this looks like a fine performance from him. Like I said before, there was a lot of wasted opportunities, I believe, with the Marvel properties that Sony have. And there's a lot of mishaps and, that's happened with them, where I think because of that, and they've seen, the decline probably in the box office with their movies, for them to keep and to save the SSU, they're really going to have to up the game, especially after the successful Deadpool and Wolverine. Even Marvel are going to have to keep moving the trajectory and moving the ball rolling to, to get to that level and to stay at that level, because they've now showcased to the fans what can be and what they want, and they need to keep at it. And this, for me, is very much in line with changing the strategy, changing up what Kraven can potentially bring and produce for the Sony SSU. In fact, because of what's happened with the the Venom character, and how fans weren't happy with that, I genuinely believe Kraven could take the lead and be the next biggest character within the SSU if played right. And it's looking like they're doing all the effort to make that happen. You know, I didn't do a trailer reaction for Venom 3, which is called The Last Dance. I did watch the trailer, and for me it was more of the same from the first and the second one. The trailer didn't stand out to me. The only thing that stand out is that the plot seems more serious and it's got more risk to it, and there's more weight behind it in terms of the stakes that Venom is going to be up against with the invasion aliens that you see in the trailer, and probably other symbiotes. And I definitely believe there will be an appearance by one of the Spider-Man. A lot of people are hoping it's Tom Holland, but I'm hoping it's Andrew Garfield. But you never know. But I would like to see him be given the opportunity. And as we're seeing at the end, if you have seen the last I think it was the last Venom film, where Tom Hardy's Venom entered into the MCU at the end of Far From Home, I think it is. You've seen Venom return back to Sony's universe, but part of the symbiote was left behind, which I believe is opening the door for us to get a different type of Venom, potentially the Venom that we've always been craving for. A more badass, villainous Venom. And that would be nice to see if Marvel is willing to keep the trajectory that we've had with the past film, Deadpool and Wolverine, because that's the way forward now. To listen to the fans and to give the fans what they want and not what they think they want. And as for Kraven the Hunter, the rest of the cast looks strong in this. Russell Crowe, as always, is probably going to do a fine job as the villainous father. Aaron Taylor-Johnson, like I say, he's a leading man in the making now, like a strong leading man. Unlike a leading man before that, you knew he was there, but you didn't pay attention to. Now you're paying attention to him, and I think it's all thanks to his performance in Bullet Train. And I do believe, I think it has been confirmed, he is now going to be the next James Bond. So that, he's going to have to, hit the park with that one, and hopefully he can. But as for the trailer itself, it looks more gritty. It looks more serious, much more grounded than what we're used to from Sony's, SSU movies. And it looks like they're finally listening to the fans and they're making it a bit more, R-rated and a bit more, dark and nitty-gritty, like I say, other than the other movies, which kind of were too flat and too light for the villains that they're using. Carnage, for example. Venom, they should be R-rated films. They shouldn't be PG bullshit. And hopefully Kraven is the film that moves forward. And if it is a success, Sony now know what they need to do. They need to keep the momentum like Marvel, and they need to make these films as R-rated and action-packed and compelling as they possibly can, instead of average. But that's just my opinion of the Kraven the Hunter trailer. It does look interesting, but let's just see if it lives up to my expectations and maybe the expectations of everyone watching here. So tell me your views on Kraven the Hunter. Tell me what you think of this trailer. Tell me what you think so far of the SSU. Tell me, do you want Marvel to get the characters back and do better with them? Do you want Sony to, just give up? Or do you think this could be the beginning of something fresh and new for the SSU? Let me know down below. But until then, keep loving your movies, keep loving all things entertainment, and I'll catch us all at the next one.